Hi crafters, happy afternoon. It is howling outside. I hope you can't hear the wind whipping through my window over here. I am coming to you from Austin, near Austin, Texas, actually, in my studio here. And I'm excited. I've got some fun ideas today. My inspiration came from a great crafter, Nina, and I'm going to butcher your last name. I think it's Ribena, Ribena. She did a great piece on how to create a mixed media collage masterboard. And I've done boards before where you can put, it's almost like a raggedy, only you do it on maybe an 8.5, 11 size piece of paper. And, it's all collaged on there. And it did catch my eye, but how she talked about making it and using it is what caught my eye. And she basically taught me three things. One, leave white space. Don't clutter up the board. And oh, that's hard. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm a crafter where more is more. More is more. Let's just keep putting on more is more. And so the restraint that you have to use in this, it will really test your patience, but you'll see why in a minute. It makes all the difference in the world. The second thing she taught me is when you do your masterboard, think in panels. There's a method to your madness when you do the collage board, and you'll see that in a minute. The third thing she taught me is when you print it off, you could take it, and have it professionally printed off, or you can print it in your own printer. Print it in different textures, like canvas paper, print it off in vellum, print it off in cardstock or just copy paper, and it gives it a different kind of texture. And you'll see in a minute that really does make a difference. So without further ado, let me start off by showing you one of them that I did. Let me hold this up a little bit so you can see, and let me show you. Sometimes you're looking at something and you're not sure what you're looking at. So let me identify some things that you're seeing in this collage board. All right, different textures. I did fabric, and she talks about doing things in groups of three. I have 3 pieces of fabric that I collaged on, and I use collage medium. I did not use anything shiny on this, but 3 pieces of fabric. I also used coffee stained doilies for texture. I put one here and one down here. There's die cuts on here. There's music paper. This is an old vintage envelope with the stamp on it. And then I used a bird. This is a chip with a bird on it. And again, you can see how it elevates off the page. I'm going to hold it like this so you can see that it's got some height to it there. This is that milk bottle top. And again, it's got some height to it as well on there. This is an old picture that I took, and I just love the textures in that picture. I used that. This is a die cut, and again, just some papers that I had, an old piece of ephemera there. Now, if you look at this, I could have added more things on this page. I could have put something here. I could have come over here and added something. I could have come up here and added something. It was everything I could do to stop. And that's what she helps you understand, is the reason why you're stopping is because eventually you'll be adding things on this, but not until after you print it. That's the key to the master board. This is like the master sheet. That's what you're going to do. So I took this and I ran it through my printer. Let me put this up here. And I came up with this. So this is just, and you'll see here, this is just that master board now, just printed out. So now I can use this for anything that I want. But let me explain to you how she teaches you to use this. And kind of I went off on my own tangent and did a couple of things on my own of how to use this. Remember I told you, think in panels. Let me use my ruler and show you. So if you get your cutter out, now you come along, think in panels. I'm going to use my ruler and show you how you can come along now and put this in your printer and cut these in long panels. Okay, so now you would have 3 panels. You could do something interesting with that. I'm going to show you in a minute what that's about. But if you cut those in half, now you have really interesting journal cards. Now let me get, I'm trying to find some that actually came from that one. I have, let me show you the cards in a minute because they came from another one. But remember I told you different textures. This is the same. This is the copy that I made, right? This is that copy on vellum. I made it on vellum. Think about how you can cut these down in those panels I just showed you, and you can put these on in your journals as flip ups. You could do side tucks with these. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous how the master panel can now become, with a different kind of texture, something really interesting in your journal. So let me show you the next one, because that's where I made the journal cards. This was the second panel I made. Here's the second panel. Let me get it straight for you here. Let me get it up close. And you can see here, fabric, fabric. These are die cuts. Here's fabric, fabric. Here's a label. I still added some doilies down at the top, down at the bottom. Here's some ephemera. Here's another one of those envelopes with the old postmark. I believe that's 1917. I can hardly make that out. And again, has the beautiful stamp on it. So I put this in my printer and I copied it. Now you can scan these in if you wanted to. I didn't do that. I just copied it. And this is the copy. Okay? So everything now becomes flat. Now, at this point, you can see how open this is? This is open, this is open, this is open. I didn't clutter it up. And that's the key to these master boards, is don't go heavy-handed on adding a bunch of stuff. There will come a time when you can add, and let me show you. So, let's go back to our rulers for a minute. If you divide up your master board into panels, now you come along. Now, look at your cards. That card comes from there. This card comes, you can see, it comes from here. This card, it's upside down, came from here. This card, oh, this is one of my favorites. Look at that card. Look how beautiful that is. That came off the board there. And this one came from here. So now your journal cards, you can cut them as wide, as narrow as you want for any project that you have. Now your journal cards are all cut off of your copy of your master board. Okay, let me take those up. Now, here's where the fun comes in. Now what can you do? This is where you can start layering. See, now you take the flatness of your journal card and now you start popping up the layers. So here I've used one of the paper dolls, an altered metal, let me see if you can see that. There it is. An altered metal piece of ephemera, buttons, a stamp up in the corner, some sari silk. Look at your fun journal card, how it takes on this gorgeous layered effect, all from a flat journal card that now you can add some depth to. Now, what I've done here is I've stitched around certain parts of the card. I've stitched around and I've added the coffee stain backing paper on the back. And then some stickers. I've just put some floral stickers on the back on this one. This one I've stitched around the doily, added a black circle there with a dragonfly coming off of that flower. So there's a little decor there. That bird chip that was on the original, I stitched around it in black and highlighted the other squares. And again, just backed it with coffee dyed paper. Now this one, I went a little bit bigger with. You can see there, I let the rectangle do the talking on this one. I stitched around the butterfly, stitched around the label. In fact, here, I didn't back this one so I could show you how I just came around it with my stitching. And again, if you're not a sewer, that's okay. You can still highlight these, stitch on the back, and now you've got a set of journal cards that are very unique. This one may be my favorite. The flowers look like they're just popping off the page. When you stitch around them and they get highlighted, again, it's backed with coffee stain paper. Now, these are ideas for your journal cards. And again, as a way to layer. But then I thought, well, wait a minute. If you can divide these up and cut them, what if you took the bigger panel and left them big? Let me take this, take this off of here. And did journal covers. See what I've done here? I've kept the big journal cover. In fact, let me get it out here. I took the big journal cover and I cut it here, kept it big, and then I kept the back one here. And then I stitched some fabric in between, and I backed it with some tissue paper, coffee stained tissue paper. And I haven't finished this one yet. Zigzagged the binding on, and I'm going to make a journal out of the two covers. So here you've got a way, and again, I can pop up, and I was just kind of playing here before I filmed this, but I can play with, I don't know, I mean, there's a zillion things that we can collage on the cover here, but look at the fun you can have with your masterboards, making journal covers. Oh my gosh, it's just endless what we can do with our creativity. I was so inspired. So Nina, I appreciate when an artist gets my brain going. And let me tell you, those masterboards, they were great in doing that. So I thought maybe we'd have a little bit of fun doing one together, so you can kind of see my process of how I go about actually pulling things out and pulling things together, and how you do that. I do get people asking me about collage and how do you do it, or how do you determine what goes in collage. Now, this one is an old media board that I did, I don't know, maybe a year ago. I found it in my stash. This is done on an old book page. So you don't even have to do it on copy paper. You could pull out an old book page. And this one I stitched. I glued the papers down, and then I stitched around them. And please don't ask me why. I don't know. I don't know why I did. And then I never did anything with it. So I looked at this and I thought, okay, I could keep this just like this and print it off. But I thought, let me add some stuff to it. It was a little too empty for me in my master board. Now this one I added lace to. I see that I got lace here. There's some fabric there. This is a stamped piece of paper here. This is scrapbook paper. That's looks like scrapbook paper here and here and here. It looks like I didn't really use fabric with this one. I used more scrapbook pieces here. And I have washi tape going down the middle here because the book page looks a little flimsy. So that's to reinforce the actual page. So where I start is in color. I look at the colors and I think to myself, okay, you want to stay close to the palette, because when you're doing masterboards, you don't want anything glaring at you. So you can see that I've got a tan, kind of light brown, little bit of pink, but everything is pretty muted in this palette, which means you want to stay there. You don't want to go too far out of there. I also picked up the butterfly, and I thought, okay, let me think about how do I want to play with this. I pulled, the best thing that I found is, again, I've already said, more is more, and you got to be careful. So I already have some things going on here that I have to be careful. Don't add too much. But I felt like I wanted to update this a little bit, add a couple of things, maybe some butterflies in here. I did rip out a couple of collage things that I liked, like maybe tone down. There's a lot of yellow going on here. I thought, well, maybe we'll come in here with a little bit of the kind of almost kind of the gray come in here. I kind of liked the muted colors of the eggs in here. This was, again, just a piece of scrapbook paper that I found. And remember your panels. So remember, as you think about what you have going here, you want to look at this in panels, because I am going to be cutting this up. The copy I'm going to be cutting up. So if I've got something going here, that's going to leave this pretty empty. So I want to drop in some kind of a focal print in the middle panel. I don't have much going down the middle here. So I was thinking of adding the eggs. And then maybe just kind of visualizing that. Now see these flowers? See how dark they are? I kind of feel like they're a little dark for this palette. So I'm going to lay those aside. I really like these butterflies. And see, I've got that kind of almost sketched look in these flowers here, that I like the sketched look of the butterfly. This one's kind of big. Let me get in frame here. I think maybe I'll try this one. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Let's see if this guy, I do like this one too, but this one, I'm going to see. Let's see. I like them kind of in that. Again, I'm visualizing this square. Can you see it? I do kind of like that. Trying to find maybe where he can go. I also, some of this is, stitched. Like this isn't going to be stitched. This isn't going to be stitched. I may ink it, but it doesn't have to be all stitched either. Um, so, see, the reason I'm not going to put that there is because it's probably going to come right down in the middle of where I'm going to cut it. So I don't want to do that, and I really don't want to cover this up, which means that maybe there. See, I've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want to be careful. Let me see. I can hear my daughter-in-law. She is deathly afraid of caterpillars, moths. Oh, she will run out of the house. Like, if she sees a picture, she is horribly afraid. So obviously, obviously this one is not a good picture for her. She will scream if she sees this. But it's kind of cool looking. I'm not sure how this creepy guy goes like this. Well, I can see the lettering is going this way, so that's the way he goes. All right. I think what's bothering me is I want more off of this butterfly. I don't tear him. All right. Not loving that. All right. I am... Now see, if it were me and I didn't have Nina in my head, I would keep going. But I don't want to keep going because I know later I can layer this up and have a lot of great stuff on here. I've learned my lesson about doing too much. Let me just get a little layer ink on him. But I don't know if you guys are like that, but I get psycho with too much stuff. But I do like him in that background. I really like that. And I like this. Here. So let's get this guy on. I don't want them coming down too far. Oh, I think I'll cut that off on the top. Okay. And then this guy. To my left, out my window, are my chickens on my farm. So my studio is the old barn turned in. And sometimes the chickens jump up on my heater air conditioner and they look in the window and peck on the window. So I have an affinity for eggs. So that's kind of special. Sometimes they drive me crazy, but yeah, the hazards of living on a farm. All right, let's get this guy on. I love that little guy. I kind of like him over on the lace than there. Let's do this. When I get done with this, I'm going to put it in my printer real quick and print it out so you can see it. Oops, hello. It's not sticking on that lace. I want you to see it as it prints out. I won't have time to decorate. Oops, boy, that is not sticking. I may have to use my glue on that. Again, I'm leaving that open. It's driving me crazy, but I'm going to leave that open. I'm going to leave this open, and this open, that open, and this open. All right. Let me just cut this off. Yucky. Now this will be smaller when it prints off because it's not a full page, but let's go ahead and get it inked. I think this one will be really pretty for cards.